This is DCC, a sales, marketing, distribution and business support services group, employing 10,000 people across 13 countries, listed on the London Stock Exchange with revenues in excess of £10 billion annually. DCC is a group with a track record of sustained profit growth, cash generation and high returns, spanning almost 40 years of strategic acquisition and development. Operating across 5 divisions, DCC has established leading positions in its chosen markets. The group is fueled by an entrepreneurial spirit and a commitment to operational excellence woven into its DNA.
DCC operates in 5 distinct businesses. Our largest business is our energy business. We also are involved in IT, in healthcare, in environmental and in food and beverage businesses.
Since the company went public in 1994, DCC has consistently achieved strong, sustained growth in its operating profit, excellent cash generation, and returns on capital employed well in excess of its cost of capital. An important feature of DCC's strategy is to maintain relatively low levels of financial risk, with modest levels of net debt. This leaves DCC well placed to respond to commercial opportunities and has contributed to the creation of significant value for shareholders over the long term.
What we say in DCC is that we build a business brick by brick. We don't really do anything that's very transformational. It's just not our style. We try and eke out as much organic growth from our businesses year in, year out, and then we layer onto that complementary bolt-on acquisitions.
A core principle for DCC is to focus on markets where it has or can achieve leadership positions.
DCC Energy is the largest oil and LPG sales, marketing and distribution business in Europe. We have a business that sells approximately 11 billion litres of product to over 1 million customers across 9 different countries. We've been in the business for over 30 years, built a business up mainly in Britain and Ireland, and since 2009 have been expanding the business out into continental Europe.
The heart of what DCC Sercom does is the distribution of IT, communications and home entertainment products in 3 principal markets, which are Ireland, UK and France. I think in distribution it's about doing 1,000 things right every day to make sure you're delivering the top class service to your suppliers and customers.
There's 2 primary businesses within DCC Healthcare. DCC Vital, which is involved in sales, marketing and distribution of pharmaceutical products and medical devices. That's about 2/3 of our revenues currently. And the smaller part of our business we call DCC Health and Beauty Solutions. That's a contract manufacturing business, but it goes beyond manufacturing. It's involved in product development, contract packing, formulation, regulatory advice as well.
At every level, the DCC team is constantly looking for ways to innovate and to improve efficiency in order to meet the needs of the group's customers and suppliers. Across the group, DCC is deploying the latest IT tools to drive increased efficiencies. The results can be seen in every division across a variety of workflows.
How can I make telesales more efficient? Or how can I make picking and filling a pallet more efficient? Or how can I load a truck more efficiently? Everything that we should do should be about, in IT, should be about simplification for efficiency, and then replicating that efficiency into the other businesses across the group.
Over the last decade, DCC has evolved into a business with significant operations in Britain and Ireland, and an expanding presence in continental Europe.
We have, large market shares in our businesses in Ireland, clearly. Our biggest market is the UK, where we have growing market shares. And we've started to establish a number of our businesses now in continental Europe. So we've been, expanding the geographic footprint and doing that again in a careful and measured way. So we started off developing a business in energy in Scandinavia. In Denmark, we bought a business.
We are selling very close to 300 million litres. And half of it is diesel and half of this is heating oil. And then we sell about 2 million litres of lubricants, and we have just started natural gas, so it's not so big yet, but it is also on its way. If we have opportunities in Denmark, we know that DCC will stand behind and have the capital. Of course, the business case has to be good, but if it's good, there's fully support.
Well, we have very recently made some fairly major acquisitions. We bought BP's LPG business in Britain last year, and we've also bought BP's business in Holland and Belgium. And lastly, we've also bought the business from Statoil, or their sister company SFR, in Norway and Sweden.
If you look at our balance sheet, you'll see that there's substantial amounts of cash on the balance sheet. So it means when opportunities come along, and opportunities don't come around every day, and when opportunities do come around, they don't tend to hang around. So you've got to be able to move quickly, sensibly but quickly.
DCC's relentless focus on return on capital employed and cash generation provides the foundation for future growth and development.
It's one of the financial disciplines that DCC have taught me over the years. You know, we look at the operating profits, the cost efficiencies. There's something that's consistently driven within the business, but it's also about cost of capital, working capital, return on capital employed, and driving operating profit growth.
Why is return on capital employed so important? Well, it transcends everything we do in the group. Equally, it marries well with the way investors look at the company.
We have a company average, and then of course your task is to try and beat the average. But it brings an absolute focus on not only commercial performance, but profitable commercial performance.
We have very clear return on capital requirements that we have to make each year. A challenge of our teams are to return on that capital, generate the cash back for DCC, who will then allow us to reinvest back in our business. So if you like, it's a virtual circle. If we can get it going right, which we have done, then it just builds on itself. And it's very, if you like, energizing for the management teams to see that the more successful they are, the more return they provide to the shareholders, the more investment they're going to get behind the business.
If you look at the track record of DCC, you know, there's few public companies that can show, one, the track record in growth over many, many years, and secondly, the consistency in terms of high levels of return on capital without blowing a balance sheet.
DCC brings that very, very strong professional approach to ensuring that we are doing things in a complete, holistic way that will secure our future for tomorrow as well as deliver strong results for today.
The real achievement of DCC is being able to tell a story of long-term growth from very humble beginnings. DCC didn't happen overnight, but has been driven by a uniquely talented, stable and determined team of people at all levels throughout this organisation, who are committed to building on the success to date well into the future.
Strong growth in earnings per share. An unbroken record of dividend growth over more than 20 years. Consistently delivering outstanding return on capital employed. Outstanding returns to its investors. This is DCC.